our fellow panelists who have welcomed you, and thank you for coming here today. My first question, I'd like to focus on the larger economic benefit of the SBIR and STTR programs. In my home state of Kansas, 55,000 people are employed by nearly 1,300 bioscience establishments, some of which are small businesses that have utilized the SBIR program. For example, Pinnacle Technology in Lawrence has used SBIR money to develop a wireless neurochemical biosensor that researchers use. It's estimated that for each SBI dollar awarded, $5 of economic benefit accrue in the local economy. Kansas companies received $76.9 million in SBIR grants from 2000 to 2002, producing approximately $385 million in economic benefit. Y'all are small business owners. Do you believe that SBIR grants allow you the necessary flexibility to hire appropriate staff, make purchases, and participate in the local economies of your communities? Any of you care to comment? Dr. Koenig?
In development of biotechnology products, the SBIR program by itself has been illustrated and discussed earlier, is insufficient by itself to get through the regulatory process and the approval of these programs. We do believe that they have a huge impact on the local economy, but if that is the only vehicle to getting that product to the market, almost every company would fail. So again, having that program in place with the opportunity to provide supplemental grants will not only be additive, it will be synergistic in terms of the whole ability of that company to ultimately commercialize and be successful.
Any other panelists have a response? Mr. Rapp?
I would say that the Phase 2 grants, the larger grants, are particularly the ones where a company's employment decisions are going to be affected. To be quite honest with you, for a 6-month grant that by the time you take out administrative expenses associated with the grant, you may be talking about $60,000 to $80,000. You can't responsibly hire somebody for that period of time, and therefore the larger grants and the longer term grants are the ones that are going to have more of an effect on hiring moves, I would say. But I would also say that that all of these programs stimulate the near-term activities that you hope then lead to the kinds of collaborations or venture capital funding subsequently that will bring that product forward and ultimately through the so-called valley of death and into commercialization. There hasn't been a lot of focus here today, I feel, on Phase 3, as the agencies seem to refer to it, that period after the grant time. And, let's not kid ourselves. These grants are great, but you still have a lot of work to do afterward in order to get something to the marketplace, and those collaborations and subsequent funding are essential.
Sure. Thank you. Any other comments? Second, I'm sorry, Ms. Lee, did you have a comment?
I very much agree with all the panelists. I agree with Mr. Rapp that Phase 3 is actually, we need a lot of assistance in that. I was not supposed to mention this, but
go ahead.
For example, I have a colleague, he has developed this wonderful technology that can help to put off the wildfire, but through DOD solicitation. So DOD has their application in this particular technology, and large prime contractors also very interested in the application in the DOD arena, but this particular technology can be used for the betterment of human lives, and so to save lives. So I feel there has to be some assistance in some way to help us to realize it.
Thank you.
Would the gentleman yield for a second?
Certainly.
Mr. Rapp, we too are concerned about Phase 3 and the lack of funding, and this is why in the bill for the first time we authorized funding of $27.5 million for Phase 3.
And I appreciate the beginning of focus there, and I simply meant in this conversation, but I'm glad. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Second question, very briefly. In 2004, the Kansas State Legislature passed, and then Governor Sebelius, now HHS Secretary Sebelius, signed the Kansas Economic Growth Act of 2004, which, among other things, created the Kansas Bioscience Authority. The KBA has worked to and has been successful in creating partnerships between public, private, and academic entities. To what extent has receiving any SBIR grants allowed you to pursue other sources of funds? Does the SBIR grant confirm a measure of credibility to other potential investors? Anybody? Mr. Rapp?
Without a doubt in our case. We received SBIR funding before we ever did our first major equity round, actually. And that was an instant validation for us. It was an NIH grant. And for us to be able to tell would-be investors that we already had received that money, it was a stamp of approval on our science. So you bet.
Very good. Very good. Anybody else?
Echo that as well, that many of the companies we partner with, that is seen as a marker of viability, much as any other funding would be as well.
Thank you very, very much. I yield back my time, Madam Chair.